Thank you very much. Okay, so today I'd like to discuss local systems of geometric origin. So this will be part 4. Okay, so first let me recall some basic definition. So I will fix S a complex manifold. Okay, so a complex local system, a C local system, is just a locally constant sheaf of finite dimensional complex vector space. Okay, and of course I could do a similar definition replacing C by any ring. Okay, so similar definition for any ring R, and I should put here a finite rank, finitely generated module over R. So I will denote like this the category of local system on S, and it's an abelian category. And so if, moreover, I assume that my manifold S is connected, and I choose a point, a base point in S, then I have the monodromy functor, so the functor monodromy representation. Okay, which goes like this. So you take, so it goes from the local system on S and takes in the value in the category of module over the fundamental group at the base point. So C modules of finite complex dimension. Okay, so this one is clearly an abelian category. And so what it does is you take a local system, and so this is the same also as representation of the fundamental group. So each time you take a loop, you will, because it's locally constant, locally it's constant, so you can identify and you go around the loop and it gives you an automorphism. Okay. Monodromy representation. And so it's an equivalence of category. Okay, and another definition. So in general, it's very hard to understand the image of the monodromy representation, but simpler invariant would be the Zariski closure. Okay, so each time you take a local system, then define its algebraic monodromy group So so this is the Zariski closure of the image of the monodromy representation. Okay, so if you choose a base point, it's a well-defined subgroup of, so if you choose S0, it will give you a finite, an algebraic subgroup of GL of L0. Okay, defined over C. Okay, so now the question is, in algebraic geometry, how can we construct a local system? So So let me give one way of constructing them. So it's based on the following lemma due to Ehresmann, which says the following. So any smooth and proper surjective holomorphic map. So in fact, I'm not assuming any algebraicity. Okay, it's any holomorphic map, which is proper and smooth, submersive if you want, like this. So between complex manifold. Is topologically a fibration. And so what do we mean by this? So this means that if you take any point in the base, so any point in the base, and it's an open neighborhood, so U in S, such that you have the following situation. So you restrict your map to U. Okay, so this is a pullback of the, this is by definition F minus 1 of U. Okay, it's a notation for this. So you pull back the map here. And now, on the other hand, you could look at the fiber at S and the product over U, which is the product situation. So here you have the second projection. And the claim is that there is here an homeomorphism, or in fact, even a diffeomorphism. So okay, but of course not a biholomorphism, because it would say that all the fibers are the same. In general, it's not the case. But so this lemma says that if you begin with any smooth proper map, then on the topological level, nothing happens. It's locally a product. Well, there is a global structure, but locally it's trivial. So maybe, so in the assumption, I ask both that it's smooth and proper. So exercise, try to find a counterexample if you remove one of these assumptions. So give counterexample. If one removes either the smoothness or the properness. and also the surjectiveness. Okay, so of F. Okay, so why is it interesting? It's because now, so from this kind of situation, so I keep the same notation. Each time you take a non-negative integer, you can look at the following sheaf. So the derived push forward of the constant sheaf C on X. I write like this. Okay, so this is just the constant sheaf on the space X. And I look at the derived push forward. Then it's a constant, so it's a C local system. Okay, and better than this, I could put here Z, and I will get a Z local system. So what is the proof? So for the proof, you need to have another interpretation. So what is this sheaf? Because the map is proper, one way to compute this sheaf is that so Rk of this is just the sheaf associated to the pre-sheaf to the following one, to any open in the base. You associate the cohomology of the pre-image, so that I wrote like this. Okay, so it's a fact. And now once you know this, from the Ehresmann lemma, for any sufficiently small, so simply connected neighborhood, open neighborhood of a point, so a point of any point S in the base, we get the following. Okay, so maybe I should, let's say, contractible, but it's true what I write, but it's easier if I put contractible and it's sufficient. No, it's not this. To the, for any sufficient open, so let me call it U. If you take the pre-image, so you have S, you have the vibration. I take an open U, and so I take all the thing here. Because U is contractible, so this is XU, and because U is contractible, you can you have a retraction on the fiber. Okay, I mean it's given by this this diffeomorphism. And so you have a canonical map like this. And because of the lemma, it's an isomorphism. Okay, and this says exactly that the sheaf is locally constant. Okay, so it gives a way to produce many local systems. Each time you are able to construct such a smooth projective, smooth proper map, then you will get local system. They might be trivial, but they are interested because they should in some sense reflect the geometry of the fiber. Okay, so now let me give a definition. This will be the class of local system we will be interested in. So I fix S a complex manifold as before. And so I will define geom of S, like geometry, geometric origin. So B, the smallest full subcategory of all local systems on S. So full means that they have the same morphism, so I need to define the object. And so it is defined like this. So I want, first it has some stability properties, so it should be closed under taking sub-object, quotient, extension, I mean, all the kind of thing we usually do. And moreover, we would like that this contain local systems that you construct like this, and slightly more general. So which contains so the complex local systems which, in restriction to a dense open subset, so U, are of the following form. So are isomorphic to something like this. So RK F star of this for, so I will say for a smooth projective and surjective morphism F from X to U and any integer K. Okay, so the element of geom. So first we look at all local systems that you can obtain by this construction, and maybe only on an open subset. You can take all the sub-objects, all the quotient, all extension of this, and you go on. So it gives you something very big. And so the element of this, I will call them a local system of geometric origin. Okay, so element of this are called, I mean, this is not wide use terminology. I can comment on this. So are called local systems of geometric origin. Okay, so maybe a proposition. So it has very nice stability properties. So by definition, it's stable under sub-object, quotient, extension. But more than this, it's easy to verify that it's stable under tensor product. So you can do the tensor product of two local systems. And if you want, you can look it's the same as the tensor product of the corresponding representation module. So tensor product. There is also a home interne. So I guess internal home. Pullbacks. And also, so I won't write it, but so I looked only at smooth projective map. But in fact, if you take any smooth map, So it might not be a local system, but it will be a local system on if you restrict the base. And yeah, so it will contain also all this kind of thing. Okay, so in some sense, it's all the kind of thing you can do, but we could also add not only this kind of push forward of constant shift, but we can also ask that in some sense it's stable by any push forward. So I don't ask this because there would be some technical problems, but I could also do it. The techniques that I will explain later work in this more general sense. Okay, so in some sense, it's all the kind of local system that you can construct of any local system. So if you take a local system on X, you can push forward by a smooth projective. So a local system which is already of geometric origin. So, okay, so I begin with the constant one, and I do extension, pull back, push forward, and I continue. Okay, so it looks a very big category, and this is for this category that I would like to prove the theorem I stated last time. But I would like to remark that it's not all local systems are of geometric origin. So the easiest way, I guess, to see it, so it's a remark. I won't give the whole argument, but just the statement. So if you look in rank 1, the local system of geometric origin are exactly the local system of torsion. Okay, so that to some, in rank 1, you have the tensor product, and tensor product of, are exactly those, the L, such that L to the N, which is still a rank 1 local system, is trivial for some N. Okay, so it's not so hard, but it's not so easy. So you can think about it. So the proof that I see use the kind of techniques that I will introduce after. So maybe more interesting and much more difficult, Simpson proved that in that for any K, there exists a complex local system not of geometric origin, but so on some fixed constructed surface. Okay, I'm not telling on everything, but you can come up with some family of example of rank. So maybe not K, but bigger than K. Okay, so you can make the rank as big as you want. Okay. Yeah, I think at least this is true. Probably, I mean, he has a more refined statement. That's a very good question. I cannot tell. No. So you could add all the rank 1 local system, right? If B1 is non-zero, you will get a lot of. So it's a bigger thing. I don't know. Yeah. And also you could, yeah, the same, add all push forward, and but yes. So the kind of restrictions that are here, that I will explain, are of both sorts. First, they have some kind of Z structure. So at least what you can prove is that the eigenvalues of the monodromy are algebraic integers. So this is the first obstruction. And the second obstruction is that they are underlying a variation of Roch structure. So this I will explain. And it gives also, in particular, that the eigenvalues of the monodromy are roots of unity. So now if you know about Kronecker theorem, you're not far from proving this, for example. Okay, so you need to look also at the conjugate for Galois. But yeah, this kind of argument breaks down if we take everything.
Suppose you take n copies of, take a rank one local system, you take n copies and n plus 1 copies. You take the inclusion. The quotient is the same local system, rank 1, which is not geometric origin. So both of them cannot be geometric origin because the quotient then is becoming geometric origin.
So one more time, so you take
any non-geometry rank 1. Take L direct sum n, sitting inside L direct sum n plus 1. If both L direct sum n and L direct sum n plus 1 both are geometric origin, the quotient is of geometric origin, but it is not.
What do you say it is not?
Because L is by starting with a one.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, but it's but it's still of the same kind.
That's
okay. So, I was No, so, but it shows that Simpson result is more precise, so maybe he can answer this, because it says also that you can assume, moreover...
Irreducible.
Sure, irreducible. Yeah, irreducible you can assume. But also you could have the tensor product, but... yeah, we can think, but it's more precise. He says also that it's not coming from curve in any way, so maybe we can... yeah. Okay, so now what is a very important result for this kind of local system? So it's a theorem of Deligne from the 70s, which says the following. So for the moment, S was any complex manifold. It could be the disk, a polydisk, a local one. But now I want something global. So let S be the complementary of a closed analytic subspace, subset, of a compact complex manifold. Okay, so in particular, any smooth algebraic variety. But it's more general. I'm not asking any algebraicity or even Kählerness or whatever. Okay, and so what is the statement? So you take a smooth projective map. And so the claim is that for any integer case, so you can look at the push forward. And it's a claim about its algebraic monodromy group. So the algebraic monodromy group of this local system is semi-simple. Okay, so in particular, it is reductive. So it's a remark. It is reductive so that the local system is semi-simple, seen as an object in the category of local system. So maybe let me explain why. It's just a remark. Yes. What I call semi-simple in a category is just a direct sum of irreducible. Yeah, thank you. So the fact that if you take any group and a representation of this group in GLN of C, the claim is that the Zariski closure of gamma is a reductive group if and only if the corresponding gamma module, so the corresponding C gamma module, okay, corresponding to this representation. So it's Cn as a vector space, but with this action, is semi-simple. So it's a direct sum of irreducible elements. And so why is it like this? I mean, there is a criterion, right? A group is reductive if it has a faithful representation which is semi-simple. So at least one direction is just this one, and this is the one that I need here. But it's an equivalence. I mean, it's basic representation of group, reductive. Okay, so Deligne tells you that this one is a direct sum of irreducible. So the direct sum is not canonical, okay, because you have this isotypical component problems. But so the sum of isomorphic irreducible component is well defined, and this is called the isotypic component. But now inside you could have different way to put it as a direct sum. But his result is stronger than just saying that it's reductive. It says that you have no GM quotient. Okay, so it's slightly stronger. And it will be important for us to have this stronger version. Okay, so I won't give a complete proof because it's a hard theorem. I mean, you need so Deligne's proof uses a lot in Hodge theory. So in particular, he uses his mixed Hodge theory package. So now there are other proofs. So let me just give a hint of proof, and I will define some of the ingredients. But the strategy of proof for Deligne result. So the idea is the following. The idea is to construct a kind of special Hermitian metric on this local system. Such that, so with the following property, that for any sublocal system, so for any subobject, the orthogonal for this metric so the metric is not flat. So it's a metric on the underlying vector bundle. So the orthogonal for this metric in the following vector bundle, so the underlying vector bundle, so formally it's this. So it will be a priori a vector bundle, but the claim is that for this very special metric, it's a local system. Okay, so I guess the idea to use metric to show semi-simplicity is everywhere. I mean, already for this kind of things, there is a veil trick. Okay? So this is a natural ID. Now it's quite tricky because this is a global phenomenon. So I will explain what is this metric. This is a Hodge metric. It's coming from Hodge theory. But locally, a priori, if you take something locally, it's not true in general. What makes it work is that you are working in this kind of global situation. Okay? So it's very important to be, like Zariski open in something compact. It's false if you, okay? So now I'd like to define this metric. And so for this, I will need to recall some basics of Hodge theory. So it will be a new part. So recollection from Hodge theory. Okay, so my primary goals will be to construct this metric, but it will be also important for the sequel of the lectures. Okay, so it will be, I mean, there will be many definitions. I apologize, but I need them. So a pure Z-Hodge structure of weight n. So is the data of a finite rank Z module. So H Z. So let's say on a finite rank Z module. So this is a decomposition of the following complex vector space. So into complex vector subspaces. So I take HC, which is by definition just the complexification of HZ. And so I want to be given a decomposition in complex subspaces indexed by two things, but with a relation P plus Q equal N, where N is the weight. And I want moreover that there is a symmetry Okay, so because this complex vector space comes from Z, it has a real structure. So I have a conjugation, and I want this relation. Okay, so small remark. You can, so this Hodge decomposition is in fact determined by the associated Hodge filtration which is defined as follows. So it's a decreasing filtration, and Fp is defined as the sum of all the summand for which R is at least P. Okay, and why is it determined? It's just because HPQ is just equal to the intersection of Fp and Fq bar. Okay. Okay, so why do we care of this structure? It's because it's a structure that occurs on the cohomology of any smooth proper variety. Okay, so I will put okay, Hodge prove it, I guess, for a compact Kähler manifold. it's true also for any, so let's say Hodge plus epsilon, and I take any compact complex manifold in the class C. And the claim is that, I mean, epsilon, there is some work, but it's not very hard. So is equipped. So with a canonical pure Z-Hodge structure of weight n. And moreover, what is very important is that it's functorial with respect to holomorphic maps. Sorry? Thank you. Okay, so a holomorphic map will induce a contravariant functor on the cohomology, and it preserves this Hodge decomposition. Okay, so this is the first piece of the data. And there is a second piece of data which is really important. So let me first give the abstract definition. So assume that Hz carries, so I will write weight n, so Z Hodge structure. Okay, HS is Hodge structure. So first you define the so-called Weil operator. So it's an operator, it's an endomorphism of H, but which is defined over R. And so it's defined as follows. So this is a real endomorphism acting by multiplication by I to the P minus Q on HPQ. Okay, so we're given the eigenspace decomposition. So clearly, because of the Hodge symmetries, a priori it's a complex operator, but you verify that it's defined over R. So now I can define what is the polarization of the Hodge structure. So for Hz, so this is right -1 symmetric. So what I mean by this just means that it's antisymmetric, I mean skew symmetric when n is odd, and symmetric when n is even. Okay. Bilinear form. That I will write Q of Z on the module, such that, so to this bilinear form you can associate canonically an Hermitian form by the following formula. H uv is by definition equal to, so it's defined on the complex, so Hermitian form, I should precise. This is on the complex vector space. So defined like this. So C of U and V bar. Okay, so it's really easy to verify that you have because I put the bar and Q is defined over R and C is defined over R, you have the Hermitian symmetry. So this is the Hermitian form, and so it's called polarization when you have the following property. It's when the form is positive definite and the Hodge decomposition is orthogonal for H. Okay, so this is what is called a polarization. So it's a more involved type of data. So I will give the main geometrical example. So from the geometry, using the cup product, it's easy to get such a form. And then the theorem is that it has this kind of properties. So let me recall this. So the main example. So I take, now I need not only in class C, but I need really to have an ample line bundle, so really to restrict to projective variety. I mean, there would be a version also for Kähler manifold, but let's stick to projective variety. So if L is an ample line bundle on X, so on a smooth projective variety X, so then each time you take a K which is less than the complex dimension of X, you have a decomposition like this, so-called Lefschetz decomposition. So it is with coefficient in Q. So let me write and then I will explain what it is. Okay, so I need to define L and the primitive. So first, because I have, so my line bundle will be A. So L, it will be an operator on the cohomology. So it goes from the cohomology with coefficient in Q to the cohomology itself. But it will increase the gradation by 2. And it's defined just by doing the cup product. By the first class of A. Okay, so the first chain class is an element in H2. You do the cup product, so it gives such a thing. So moreover, the first chain class, in fact, belongs to the H11. So this operator will just move the Hodge decomposition by 1, 1. So it's and so the second thing that I need to define is a so-called primitive cohomology, and it's just the kernel of, so in K it's n minus K plus 1. Okay, so this is the so-called Lefschetz decomposition. Okay, so there is a result of Lefschetz which tells you that if you fix K and you look at the iterated of L n minus K, it gives you an isomorphism between HK and H2n minus K. And so if you go one step further, now it's not there is a kernel and this is a primitive. And it's called primitive because you can construct the whole cohomology of K using only translation of the primitive cohomology. Okay. For this, so L for any L. Okay, and so in this range, L will be injective. Okay, so it's really this is isomorphic to this inside this, and it's a decomposition not only at Q vector space but also on the level of Hodge structure. So decomposition as Q Hodge structure. And it's not true over Z. But so yes, maybe I should write it. Decomposition as Q Hodge structure. And so now I can define a polarization. So of course, there is the cup product on cohomology, and so we will use it. So two forms, or two cocycle, we look at the following. So it's on HK. And I need a sign to get the good sign at the end. Okay, so I put integral, but it's really defined over Q here. And if I, to get really a polarization, I need to restrict to the primitive part. Okay, so this is a result of. Yes, it is the same L. Yeah, so you're right. Wow. Okay, so in particular, this says that on each primitive thing there is a polarization. So by doing direct sum, you will get a polarization here. And from the polarization, by the very definition, you get a Hermitian form, which is positive definite. Okay, so you get really a metric on the cohomology of the fiber. Okay, and now the local system that we were looking at before are just putting together cohomology of fiber. So this is a metric, and this is the one we are looking for. Okay, so it's a canonical metric, associated to the situation. So it's not so canonical because there is a choice of a non-polar bundle. But what you can prove is that in the end, on the simple, on the irreducible local system, it's well defined up to scalar. Okay, so it's more or less canonical. Okay, so now I can define. So here is, I was giving the theory over a point, let's say a variety over a point. So I have a Hodge structure, a polarization, and a Hodge metric. And now I want to look at a family of variety, and I want to understand how this vary in family. Yeah, so it's very important to have this global assumption. Okay, so let me define this last. Okay, so this will be the object that you get when you let vary the base point. Okay, so the last definition. So a Z variation of Hodge structure. Okay, so you let the Hodge structure vary, which is pure of weight n on a complex manifold. Okay, so this is the following data. So first, a Z local system. And secondly, so we want a kind of Hodge filtration, so a decreasing filtration of what? Of the associated, so I will write it F point, of the associated holomorphic vector bundle. So And I want that this is really a filtration by a holomorphic subbundle. Okay, so what do I mean by this? These are coherent subsheaf, but moreover, I want that the quotient is locally free. Okay, so there are locally free subsheaf such that the quotient itself is locally free, what I call a subbundle. So this is the data, but of course you need some compatibility, you need more. So such that, first, you want that at every point it gives you a Hodge structure. So at every point you have a, so L restricted at S is a Z module, equipped with a filtration, and you ask that it's a Z Hodge structure, pure of weight N. Okay, so that's why it's a variation of Hodge structure. And the second point, which is very important, and which is called Griffith transversality. Okay, so I'm giving the axiom, but of course, what is behind, and it will be next result, is that this is satisfied in geometrical situation. So Griffith transversality tells you that, so if you take the filtration, so because we have a line bundle, local system, sorry, equivalently, we have a flat connection on this vector bundle. So the filtration is not flat a priori, but still he has some restriction. It should go in it should at most jump to the next step. Recall that it's a decreasing filtration. So okay, and this is what a variation of Hodge structure is, but I need also to define what is a polarization. So polarization. So now it's a flat bilinear form. So it's a bilinear form on the local system. And I will add that it's even defined over. Okay. So over Z, over Q. Let's say over Z. I could have defined it over Z. So let's say it's over Z. So which induces point by point a polarization. So of this Hodge structure for any S in the base. Okay, and so let me finish with what do we care with this definition? This is a result of Griffiths from the late 60s, which tells you that if you take F smooth projective, so then we have seen that for any integer, we can look at the following local system. And I can endose it with the Hodge filtration. So the Hodge filtration will be a filtration of the associated holomorphic vector bundle. And the claim is that it is a variation of Hodge structure. Okay, so what does it mean? So there are some clear parts. Okay, so the fact that it's a Z local system, we have already seen it, it's Ehresmann lemma. Now we have really a decreasing filtration of this, which is, we look point by point. But what is non-trivial is that it's really a filtration by holomorphic subbundles. Okay, so First, that it's a filtration by coherent subshift, it's not clear. But moreover, it's really subbundles. Okay, so this is a first non-trivial thing that Griffiths proves. Then, okay, the first point is clear. We do it just point by point. But now this is a main observation by Griffiths, is that in the geometric situation, we have this restriction. And it turned out to be very important in all applications. I mean, if you don't have this, if you remove this, then all that I will explain breaks down. And so, last point, of course, we want also the second main point is existence of polarization and of the associated metric. But now you need to assume existence a priori of a relatively ample line bundle. So for any relatively ample line bundle, so A on the total space and relatively to this map. So we know it will give an ample line bundle on each fiber, so you can define the primitive cohomology. It's easy to see that it's a sub-local system. Okay, just point by point, it's looking at the primitive cohomology. So it's a sub-Z local system, but in fact, it's also, as we saw, it's compatible with the Hodge structure. So it's a sub variation of Hodge structure. And now, this one is canonically polarized by A. And because we have the Lefschetz decomposition, and this Lefschetz decomposition works also in family, from this polarization, we will in fact construct a polarization of this one. So this one, we say that it is not polarized, but polarizable. Okay, and I mean, if we choose a relatively ample bundle, it's even polarized because of the, okay? But in the end, what is important is just the existence of a polarization, not the polarization we have in hand. Okay, and yeah, so more or less explain you how you get a metric on this kind of local system. Now, of course, you need to really work to prove that this metric has the kind of properties I told you, okay? Meaning that point by point, you could define the complementary, the orthogonal of a sub-local system. The claim is that if you have some global condition, it's really a sub-local system. Okay. Okay, so I will stop here.